Have you ever felt like life has taken a detour, leaving you stranded at the side of a dark, unfamiliar road? That's where our story begins. Imagine a night in New York City. Not the bright, bustling one we all know, but a quiet, rain-swept street. The street lights flickered, painting long, distorted shadows on the wet pavement. There, amidst the lonely rhythm of the rain, a beautiful woman named Olivia found herself in an unexpected predicament. Her sleek, black car, a symbol of her success, sat defeated by a flat tire. A seemingly small mishap, but in the quiet of the night, it felt monumental. She was a woman used to control, yet here she was utterly helpless. Her perfectly manicured fingers, usually tapping away on a keyboard or signing important documents, now trembled slightly as she tried to get a signal on her phone. Across the street, a figure moved slowly under the dim glow of a street lamp. David, a man who knew the meaning of being stranded, watched her. He wasn't a knight in shining armor, more like a forgotten shadow of the city. He was searching for a glimmer of hope, a scrap of something that could get him through another cold night. But his eyes were drawn to the solitary figure of the woman by the car, a silent call for help amidst the rain. He hesitated, a battle waging within him. Should he step in? What could he possibly offer? The decision felt like a crossroad, not just for her, but for his own dormant humanity. He was a man who had learned to expect nothing, to disappear, but tonight something different flickered within him. He ventured into the rain towards her. He approached her slowly, his footsteps echoing softly on the wet asphalt. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, his voice a mix of weariness and surprising calm. Olivia turned, startled. Her initial reaction was a guarded caution, a conditioned response to a world where everyone seemed to want something. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice edged with tension, "but I don't have any cash." He held up his hands in a gesture that was both hesitant and reassuring. "I'm not asking for money. I noticed your tire. I used to be a mechanic. Maybe I can help." She looked him over, her blue eyes searching, trying to read the lines on his face, the honesty in his tired eyes. He was a mystery, and maybe a lifeline she hadn't expected. She hesitantly agreed, her eyes fixed on him as he knelt down next to her car, as though she expected him to pull a trick. She wasn't completely certain she trusted him, but something in his demeanor felt real. He moved with a quiet confidence, a practiced grace that belied his worn clothes. His hands, though rough, were deft. As she watched him work, a strange feeling washed over Olivia. It wasn't the fear of the unknown, but a peculiar kind of curiosity, an inexplicable familiarity. "So what's your story?" she asked, her voice softer now, a tentative bridge reaching out across their vastly different worlds. He paused, not looking up. "It's a long one," and she knew somewhere deep down that this was not just about a flat tire. It was about the convergence of two souls, each lost in their own way, unexpectedly finding a connection. He told her, with a quiet simplicity, of a life that had once been filled with promise, a career as an engineer, a home, a sense of purpose. But then the financial crisis came and took everything. Her empire, too, she knew, had been built on a solid foundation, a foundation that, in the wrong circumstances, could just crumble. She had worked so hard and understood the fragility of success. He looked up at her, a flicker of a sad smile on his face, a kind of acceptance she hadn't expected. He had nothing, and yet he wanted nothing in return for helping her. He finished fixing the tire and stood. "It'll get you to a mechanic," he said, wiping his hands on his worn jeans, a mixture of pride and exhaustion in his gaze. As he turned to leave, she called out. "Wait," she said, her voice surprisingly soft. "What's your name?" He paused, looked back at her, a small, genuine smile on his face. "David. David Carter." He disappeared into the darkness, leaving her standing alone by her car. But this time, she didn't feel helpless. She felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, an inexplicable pull, a kind of curiosity that tugged at her heart. Who was this man, this quiet stranger who had appeared out of the night? As she drove home, she couldn't shake the memory of his tired eyes, the quiet dignity that seemed to envelop him. She found herself drawn to his spirit, his strength, the way he was, despite everything. Back in her office, surrounded by the symbols of her success, Olivia felt a strange unrest. Her thoughts kept drifting back to the rain-soaked street, the broken tire, and the man who had unexpectedly come to her rescue. She delved into his past, searching for any trace of his existence beyond his brief encounter. She had to understand who he really was and what had led him to this point in life. She felt an odd sense of responsibility, a strange pull. She felt a compelling need to intervene in his life, to try and pull him out of the darkness in which he seemed to exist. Meanwhile, across town, David sat on a park bench, watching the world go by with a distant gaze. He felt her image, the memory of the kindness in her eyes. It was an echo of a life that he thought he had lost forever. He had learned to expect nothing, to fade into the background. But her encounter had stirred something in him, a flicker of hope, a sense of possibility, something he had long forgotten. He knew nothing of her, but for the first time in a long time, he felt seen. Olivia learned about David's past, the accomplished engineer, that he was a life that had been swallowed by misfortune. Her heart ached with this newfound information. She was intrigued by the intelligence that she had detected from their brief encounter, and was drawn by a magnetic feeling that seemed to connect them. She knew she had to find him and offer him a chance to rewrite his story. Chance, or perhaps destiny, brought David and a former colleague, Mike, together again. Mike had been shocked to find David in such a difficult state and was concerned about the turn his life had taken. During that encounter, he learned that David had not given up on himself. His desire to reclaim his former glory was still simmering within. It was a turning point. Mike gave David a copy of his old resume, a reminder of what he once was, and what he could become again. It was almost like lighting the spark of hope again. Back in her office, Olivia couldn't ignore the pull she felt toward David and decided to take a leap of faith. Olivia went to the park where she found him sitting on the old bench. He was surprised to see her, his eyes full of a combination of confusion and curiosity. Olivia approached him. She explained what she had found about his past, and without hesitation, offered him an opportunity to work at her company. Her voice was earnest. She explained that she could not pretend as though they hadn't met, and she had something to say. He hesitated. It was a chance, a lifeline, but could he really accept? Could he trust the kindness of a stranger? He decided to say yes. David stood nervously in front of the towering glass skyscraper that bore Olivia's name. It was a symbol of everything he had lost, and a testament to what he could become. He stepped inside, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. But as the days went by, something shifted. The challenge of fixing things, of using his mind and hands again, it reignited a spark within him. He thrived, and his initial reticence gave way to confidence and purpose. His colleagues were initially wary, but his dedication and brilliance could not be ignored. Olivia watched him, her heart swelling with pride. He was proving himself, not just to her, but to the world, and more importantly to himself. They began spending time together outside of work, sharing coffee, conversations, and the occasional lunch. They had both discovered a genuine connection, a shared sense of understanding, and a growing admiration for each other's unique spirits. At the company's annual gala, Olivia made a bold decision. She introduced David as a key part of her company's turnaround initiative. However, a rival, an influential businessman named Mark, with ulterior motives, saw David as a threat. He tried to undermine him, revealing his past, hoping to tarnish Olivia's reputation by association. He shared David's past with Olivia, hoping to manipulate her perception of him. But instead he made the connection between them even stronger. That night, David and Olivia spoke. She confessed that he had become someone special to her. He was overwhelmed by his past once more, and he could not believe that this beautiful, incredibly successful woman could have any feelings for him. He wanted to pull away, to disappear as he had done before. He was convinced that he was not worthy of her and was holding her back. But Olivia took his hands in hers and said, "You belong here. We will figure this out together." Those words broke through the self-doubt that had imprisoned him for so long. For the first time in a long while, he dared to believe that he had a future. The next day, the media was all over the story, twisting David's past, making it sound as if Olivia had been naive and reckless in her actions. At a press conference, Olivia, who had always been known for her calm and professional demeanor, showed her true self, her unwavering spirit. She defended David with a passion that surprised everyone, including herself. She spoke with such a force of conviction that it forced everyone in the room to reevaluate their perceptions. She was fighting for him, not just against the injustice of the media, but also against a world that seemed too quick to judge and too slow to forgive. David, watching from the back of the room, his heart filled with warmth and gratitude, found his courage returning. That day, he decided to fight for his future. Olivia's bravery had awakened something in him, a sense of belonging, a feeling that the world could be his if he allowed it. Back in his small apartment, he looked at his old resume and knew that he had a new story to write. Olivia's unwavering belief in him had changed everything. With Olivia's encouragement, David began to rebuild his life. She had shown him that success isn't just about making a profit, but also about building relationships, supporting others, and believing in redemption. It was through this new perception of success that David rebuilt his consulting firm, and Olivia was there to support him every step of the way. Their conversations became deeper, their connection stronger. Their working relationship had evolved into something that felt like a beautiful, unexpected dance of souls. One evening, they walked through Central Park. It was a quiet, intimate space, bathed in the soft glow of city lights. It was there that they both confessed that they were falling in love. They admitted that the connection that they had felt was not just friendship, it was something more, something deeply profound and very genuine. Olivia confessed that, for the first time, she felt that she could be herself around him, completely and utterly vulnerable. Mark, Olivia's rival, refused to give up. He still wanted to bring them both down, but his attempts at trying to break them apart had the reverse effect. David's success soared and, despite all odds, his past and her present melded beautifully. One day, David took Olivia to the same place where they had met, where she had found herself stranded in the middle of the rain. He confessed that he had been afraid to face his past, but her kindness, her belief in him, had changed him. He knelt down, his eyes filled with love, and asked her to marry him. A tear rolled down her cheek as she whispered the word yes. For a brief moment it seemed as if the whole world stood still as they embraced and celebrated the beautiful and improbable journey that had brought them to that very moment. David and Olivia's story is a testament to the transformative power of human connection, the beauty of second chances, and the extraordinary things that can happen when we dare to believe in each other. It proves that love can blossom in the most unexpected places, that all it takes to rewrite our future is one chance encounter with a kind stranger. What did you take away from this incredible journey? What surprised you the most? Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if it moved you. Subscribe for more stories of inspiration and hope, and share it with someone who might need a dose of faith in humanity today.